So 11 players have left Manchester United in the January transfer window. It is a massive clear out. But what's happened? Who's been sold? Who's been loaned? Is there a buyback clause? Is there a sell-on clause? What I'm going to do in this video is explain all 11 transfers and the finer details of them, all the players who have left, and also explain to you the change in policy that is happening at Manchester United, because this is only the start of it. There's a lot more of it coming in the next couple of years because of how financially unsustainable our football club is. Thank you very much to the Glazers. I'll explain it all in this video. You can let me know what you think about each deal in the comments, as you always do. And if you can, please drop a like on the video. Now, this shift in policy. Now, Manchester United previously have basically hoarded players, had them at the club, lost them on a free, or sold them for pittance at the end. That's what we've done. Not just with academy players, by the way, but with a lot of first-team players too. Now, this transfer happened last summer, and there was a huge kickoff about it because it was only 1 million euros. Now, I was annoyed about it at the time, by the way, as well, because I hadn't seen this change in policy, but this was the beginning of it. Now, the key detail in this is that Manchester United included a significant sell-on clause for Zidane Iqbal. What's he gone on to do at Utrecht so far? He hasn't pulled up trees. He's still kind of struggling to break through. And nobody is speaking about Zidane Iqbal now that we've got Kobbie Mainoo in the first team. So what I'm going to do now is run through all of the transfers that we've done in January and how I think all of this points towards a shift in strategy that Omar Barada is only going to continue. So if you're pissed off and annoyed now, you better prepare yourselves, because the under-18s crop we've got coming through are a much higher level than what these players were. Now, of course, there's also first-team players involved in it. Now, Donny van der Beek leaving. This was the deal. Left on loan. Buy option wasn't mandatory, but if it was executed by Frankfurt, it'll be 11 mil plus 3 mil add-ons. Donny van der Beek, he hasn't really done much at Frankfurt either. So far, I would be surprised if they would buy him on a permanent deal. But I'm going to run through these in chronological order of when they happened in January, taking us up to Hansen-Aaroen, which has happened, and causing a bit of a ruckus among United fans. The next player out the door was Jadon Sancho. Now, this was kind of a straight loan, with Dortmund paying, I believe, around about 60% of his wages, Manchester United paying the rest. When it comes to the summer, there's no buy option included, there's no sell-on percentage included, it's just a loan, and in the summer, we will reassess. Could he have a future at the club? I don't personally think so, and I want to see Jadon Sancho sold. All right? Some people might disagree with that. That's kind of how I feel. Now, the next player out was Joe Hugill, who left, and this was more of a straight-up development loan. A traditional loan, if you want to call it that. A player who's not going to get game time, too good for the academy teams, goes out, and he's on loan at Burton Albion. Actually scored like 2 minutes into his debut against Derby. This transfer here was one that annoyed a lot of people. Alvaro Fernandez was on loan at Granada, only started 5 games there, was called back by Manchester United, and then sold to Benfica. And they've got, as you can see there, a buy option clause included in the contract. That is only for 6 million euros, and that comes into effect if Fernandez plays, I think, 50%, if he starts 50% of the games for Benfica between now and the end of the season. But again, significantly, United have got a sell-on clause percentage as part of that. I'm not sure whether we've got a buyback clause, but if it's going to follow the same patterns as a lot of players that we've sold, then we will have the right of first refusal. So if somebody comes in to try and buy Alvaro Fernandez for X amount, we could buy him for that price too in the future. I'm not sure on the finer details of the Alvaro Fernandez one because they were never released. Now, Hannibal was another one, but this for me right here is an ideal deal for United. We sold him, well, he went on loan with the buy option included, 20 million euros if they want to execute it. And we have the ability to buy him back for 35 million euros in the next 3 years. If he goes on to become a world-class player, we'll only have to pay a net 15 million euros to him. Sell-on clause percentage is also included. You see the patterns emerging here? Manchester United's academy has so much quality coming through it. Not every player is going to make it in the first team, but United fans really take it personally when a player is sold on. They'd rather kind of just hold them at the club, and maybe I'll explain why the Hansen-Aaroen situation could have been very different in terms of how it's actually panned out here. But Hannibal, 20 million euros buy option, 35 million buyback clause, and a sell-on percentage if he does leave. Oyedele going to Forest Green Rovers on loan, traditional development loan, like Joe Hugel. And there's a couple more of those as well. Reece Bennett, who was if I'm correct, he was the captain for the FA Youth Cup winning team, has now gone on loan to Stockport for the rest of the season, who I believe are top of League Two. Yep, they are. They're ahead of Wrexham. I hope that he develops there. Traditional development loan. Dan Gore going to Port Vale. The report suggested that Man United have done their research and realised that that was the best place for him. He's gone on loan, and I personally think there's more chance of, well, obviously there's now because he's probably been loaned out, Hannibal. I've always felt that Dan Gore's ceiling was slightly higher than Hannibal's, and I hope I'm proven correct, but, good luck to Dan Gore at Port Vale. And Radek Vitek, a young goalkeeper, he's gone on loan to Accrington Stanley for the rest of the season. So how many deals is that so far? That is, let's run through them. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And there's 2 more left. These ones definitely caused some friction. People were angry that Pellistri had gone to Granada because they felt that he was better than Anthony and he was a better option. I can't believe we're choosing Anthony. My personal opinion is that Pellistri has been a Manchester United player for 3 years now, I think. Has he significantly developed? No. Has he had a wealth of opportunities? No, I think Van der Beek had more opportunities than he did. But I don't think we're going to be missing this one. And I don't believe there's anything to do with a buy option included in it. I think this is just a development loan. I mean, it probably means it'll be sold in the summer. I don't think he's actually been loaned with a buy option or obligation. And then there's this one, which has probably caused the most angry reaction out of all of them. I think Alvaro Fernandez was pretty angry. Hannibal was pretty angry, but Hansen-Aaroen certainly. And these are the finer details. Hansen-Aaroen has agreed a permanent deal to join Werder Bremen. United had hoped to keep Hansen-Aaroen, but there was a significant difference between the wage expectations of the club and the player. His contract at Old Trafford was due to expire in the summer, and United would have been due compensation had he left for another team at that stage. Now, with Hansen-Aaroen, Manchester United are going to include they're going to include a sell-on percentage. I don't know whether there's going to be a buyback clause, but there will be a sell-on percentage. So if Hansen-Aaroen goes on to become a top-level star in the Bundesliga and is sold by Werder Bremen, Manchester United will make some money from that. And I believe also we've got the what's it called? Right of first refusal? Anyway, if somebody tries to come in and buy Hansen-Aaroen for 25 million further down the line, we'll have the ability to match that. Now, this is a massive shift in policy from our football club. People are looking at Ten Hag and blaming him for this, but this is a change in policy of our club, right? The first thing that Brailsford and Blanc and Ratcliffe and anybody to do with Ineos, the first thing they need to do is fix the mess that is Manchester United's finances. Right here is why all of this is happening. And I actually think, regardless of whether we were that much in the red, I think it's a good thing. Manchester United have recorded a pre-tax loss of 180 million over the last 2 campaigns. And added on to the fact that we've lost 32 million pre-tax. I don't know whether the PSR rules are actually post-tax. I presume they kind of are. But over 200 million when you include the last 2 years accounting and the first 3 months of this year's. That figure has to be below 105 million. And that's only 105 million if it includes a 90 million investment from Ratcliffe. Ineos' job at the beginning is to make Manchester United financially sustainable according to the new profit and sustainability rules, which we are not. And when it comes to players like Hansen-Aaroen or Alvaro Fernandez or Hannibal Mejbri, players who came through and are talented, but are they quite going to make it? Is there a direct pathway? I think the one who really did have a pathway was Alvaro Fernandez. Out of all of them, I think that was the one where we did have the pathway. I think Reguilon got 7 starts on his loan deal. Would he have been happy to have just played that role at United? It kind of strikes me that he would have been, considering he only started 5 times at Granada anyway. That one I think United fans can be aggrieved about. I don't think there's many others that you can. I'll be completely honest. And if in this current situation, it's the best possible scenario that we could have got out of Hansen-Aaroen, considering he wasn't going to sign a new contract. He was going to leave the club for free in the summer. So now we've sold him with a sell-on percentage and the ability to buy him back if another club tries to sign him. United are going to have so many talented youngsters coming through under Ratcliffe's Ineos. Not every single one of them is going to make it. Previously, we have just, you know what would have happened previously with Hansen-Aaroen? We would have said, no, we're not listening to you. We're going to argue with you for the next 3 to 4 months, convince you that you have to sign this Man United contract. And then you're ultimately going to decide, no, I'm not going to do it. And you're going to leave on a free transfer. Then we're left up shit creek. We've got nothing. Hansen-Aaroen has left because we wouldn't listen to him and we were convinced that we could turn it around. No. There's a change in policy happening at this club, and it's only going to get more. Look, City have been doing this for a while. They make a fair. The academy of Manchester United should not just be a cash machine. The academy of Manchester United should look at who we've got and who the best choices are and bring those best choices through. But for those who aren't, we should be looking at moving them on. We shouldn't be looking at hoarding them. And that will make us far more financially sustainable as a football club. Ratcliffe's got to clear up the mess. This is a massive change in policy, a big shift. And that's why 11 players have left in January. You might not like it, but that's the reason it's happened. You can let me know what you think in the comments below, as you always do. And not everyone agrees with me on this one. I understand that.